The Mets and Pete Alonso are locked on a contract standoff. Will the polar bear return to Queens? That's the question. So let's talk to New York Post MLB insider Jon Heyman about the latest on the Alonso and Mets negotiations. Mr. Heyman, what's going on, man? I know you're in off-season mode. The phone is blowing up, so let's get straight into it. A lot of rumors and reports out there, but I come to you, sir. What's the latest on Pete Alonso and the Mets?
Yeah, I think Pete Alonso and the Mets are still in that standoff. I don't believe it's close. As we talk today here on Friday, things can change. Obviously, it's fluid. Compromises can be made, but this has been going on now for months, and obviously, it is a consideration, but not a certainty at this point. So there are several other teams that are interested in Pete Alonso, but the issue for him has been the years. He has just turned 30 years old. And in free agency, the years play big, as we saw with Juan Soto getting that record deal, $765 million, who just turned 26. So, it's been probably a bit of a difficult road so far, but he does have a lot of interest, and he's looking at these other teams, and perhaps one of them will come through with what he wants. But so far, obviously, none of them have. Seattle, Angels, Toronto, Boston, all have been linked to Pete Alonso. I think there are around 8 teams that have shown some interest, including the Yankees previously, before they signed Goldschmidt and acquired Bellinger. But right now, I think they're still in a kind of a standoff. I think that's a fair characterization with the Mets.
Okay, you mentioned those 8 teams. You also talked about how they're still, like you said, they're still kind of in a standoff. You've been all over this thing, John. So as of right now, Amazins 1-0. Come opening day, is Pete Alonso the first baseman for the Mets? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, you're asking me to guess. I would say there's a good chance of it. I do think he likes being a Met. He likes being a Met. I don't know which way to put it at this point, but I mean, obviously there's 6 years. He's hit the most home runs of anybody in the National League since he came into the league. Only Aaron Judge has hit more home runs. He seems to have enjoyed it quite a bit. I know he's from Tampa, but he's like New York. And, I think ultimately there's a good chance that they will work it out. But like I said, not a certainty. There are other teams involved. They haven't met the price yet, and they still have some more compromising to do. And, I know we're in January 10th at this point, and I know it feels like it's late, but half the free agents still haven't signed. Some other stars have not signed yet. And historically, we know, I mean, Bryce Harper signed the last day of February 6 years ago. Prince Fielder signed in late January. A lot of stars have signed late and gotten big deals, so we shall see. But it does feel like a lot of teams are looking at kind of a shorter-term deal with opt-outs for Pete at this point. But he's still waiting, and we're still more than a month to go before spring training. Just barely more than a month, but about a month. Fairly.
Okay, not the news Amazins wanted to hear from John's crystal ball, but let's say the Mets don't re-sign Polar Bear Pete. Who could be another option?
Right. Well, certainly, I don't know. Was that not the news? I don't know. I said they have a good chance, but I get it. They want, certainly the fans want a guarantee. I get it, Brandon. One possibility would be to give Brett Beatty another chance. He fielded very well last year. He does have big power. He does seem to have potential. The question there, is he a New York player? Because he just has not lived up to his billing the first couple of tries that he's had. There is that possibility that he gets another chance and they move Vientos to first base and have Beatty be the third baseman. As far as outside possibilities, there aren't a lot of options. This is why it's a difficult situation, not just for Pete, but for the Mets. I mean, looking at it now, Justin Turner, who obviously we know in one of the biggest mistakes in Mets history, not the biggest, obviously, Tom Seaver being let go twice, were much bigger mistakes, but Justin Turner turned around and had a fantastic career, but he is at this point close to 40 years old. He is still out there as a free agent. Not a lot of first base free agents still remaining. Most of the guys who are on the block have been traded. Potentially, Lamont Wade from the Giants could be traded. Tristan Casas from the Red Sox potentially could be traded. Luis Ariz from the Padres potentially could be traded. So those are 3 names out on the trade market, but not easy to make trades. The Mets don't like to give up prospects. And really, I mean, they don't have great options. If you don't think Pete has great options, the Mets really don't have great options either, unless you believe in Brett Beatty.
All right, they don't have great options, but Steve Cohen and David Stearns have been active this offseason. They landed the prize in free agency, obviously, with Juan Soto. They also re-signed Sean Manaea. Tanner Scott is still out there, and Roki Sasaki will make his decision soon. Could the Mets sign either one or both of those guys?
Yeah, I mean, the relief market is starting to get active now. We saw Kittredge go to the Orioles last night. I think Hoffman and some other guys are getting closer, so I certainly could see that for the Mets. They do seem to be targeting a big arm in the bullpen. A lefty would be optimal. Tanner Scott has that huge arm. He is a lefty, certainly could combine with Edwin Diaz at the back end and give the Mets really, I mean, probably the best back end bullpen in baseball. So I do think that has a decent chance of happening with the Mets. And Roki Sasaki, he'll have that decision perhaps in 5 days, perhaps a little bit more than that. The Dodgers are still considered the favorite. I thought the Padres weren't. A lot of other people were, but they have a little bit of an issue right now with a lawsuit at the top of their hierarchy between their owners, and you wonder if he would actually go there. So I do think. I do think that the Mets are probably in play, a possibility. It was worthwhile to give it a shot, and we shall see. But, I mean, the Dodgers are the heavy favorite. I think that's fair to say. Mets, Yankees, Giants, Mariners, Cubs, Rangers, all involved. And I would say all have a shot at this point. I don't want to say it's wide open because I do believe the Dodgers are the favorite, but I think they have a chance.
I've been hearing someone's phone buzzing. I don't know if it's my kid's
Sorry about
daycare,
that.
if it's my kid's daycare telling me something's going on, or someone hitting you up with some breaking news. So I'm gonna let you go, sir, so you can handle business. But thanks for hopping on with us again today.
Thank you very much.